Central are back. After a 2-year hiatus, we're back in Division 1, and with Chris Tompkinson in the dugout, we're ready to fight back to where we belong.
We are Central.
We are Central.
We are Central.
Well, it means everything, doesn't it?
Save! Johnny Hadlow saves for Central! Central are Murray Trophy champions!
Josh Frith has the ball now for Central! Justin scores! Central's done it!
Right, so hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Central Chat. Today we are joined by Paul and Tomo. Thanks for finally making space in your diary to come on together, guys. It's lovely to see you. And we've also got, for the first time, special guest, former assistant manager and number 1 orange peeler in the Manchester Football League, Kyle Lord. Kyle, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. You're very nice. And orange peeler.
It's good to see you.
Nice of you to throw that one in early.
It's been a while. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm doing very well. Keep following Central's progress and seeing how well Tomo's doing at the wheel.
Yeah, happy days. Obviously,
not great.
You've sort of moved into the refereeing side of things now, rather than the stepping away from coaching. How's that going?
Going really well, mate. Honestly, it's doing really well. I've managed to get to North West Counties before Central, so that's the best thing that I've probably ever done.
That wasn't hard, was it?
But no, honestly, it's no, it was. But yeah, it's great, mate. It's nice, and to not have to deal with people like Paul and Tomo on a sideline in the Manchester League on a regular basis is actually quite.
Don't
refreshing.
be slagging off the coaches and managers, all these hard-working people in the Manchester League, mate. Don't you be slagging them off. Everyone that wants to come for Kyle, can we put Kyle's Instagram and Twitter in this podcast, please?
At him.
I was the worst. I was the worst.
You were
one
the
out
worst,
of
the actual worst.
I was always getting sent off. I was always getting sent off.
Well, you've learned.
The shoe's on the other foot now.
I know.
Happy days. Well, it's good to have you back, mate. And we will come back to you in a minute. But first of all, just want to talk about this month that has just gone in the league. And obviously, we had our first cup game last weekend. Chris, I'll come to you. Good to get the first win on the board, first points.
Absolutely, I'd forgotten what it was like to actually win and pick up 3 points, to be honest with you. A bit of a cliche, but yeah, it's about time. And this month, I'm sure Paul will agree, it has been more consistent. We've seen an improvement from the start of the month to last week in regards to the performances and lads' characters and desire, whether that's been in training. Training's been much better, much more structured in how we want to do things and not kind of letting lads dictate what they want. We've kind of gone back to how it used to be with it's us as coaches who are dictating how it should be, the character and the setup and the vibe of the team, which has improved the performances and obviously getting the 2 results as well as having two or three really good players come in, 2 fullbacks who Diego and Tom, who have been absolutely fantastic since they've come in. They've really steadied it down, really added a bit of quality to what we've done, and they probably single-handedly, maybe along with a couple of other ones like Max and Nat as well, really were kind of the key points to us getting the first couple of wins, really.
Yeah, Paul, what do you think has sort of changed this towards the end of this month, where obviously we did lose the first game in a month, but since then we seem to have really picked up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, I think Thomas hit the nail on the head. Me and Tomo did change how we were operating. We changed everything. We changed how training was. We changed our approach to it, everything. So I think it did come from us, which is good. Me and Tomo had a bit of a rough patch, I think, in terms of just our appreciation of doing it or the challenges we faced and the difficulty, but we kind of snapped out of it a little bit and got back to the old Central, really. And I think, as we did say, I think I said in my last podcast with you guys, was we will start seeing the true Central. And I think it's fair to say the last 3 games we're unbeaten. I think we drew and won 2. And we beat a team from a league above. So I do think finally, I think it's come from myself and Tom, I do. And then I think the players have started to buy into it a lot more. So it's been good to see. And and like Tomo says, a couple of changes in personnel have been massive. We've all known that over Central's life. The team you start with in a season is certainly not the team you end with. So we've seen a bit of an influx of ins and outs, and it's been great.
Yeah, I mean, one of the main things that I know when I spoke to Dan Dolling in the first episode, he said that for him personally, that defending and not conceding too many goals has been sort of one of his main goals for this season. Obviously, at the start of the season, we were shipping quite a few, but the last 2 games we've only conceded 2 goals. So do you think that defensively that it's shored up? How do you why do you think that sort of
I think the
happened?
tough thing, Tom will agree. At one point, we had 4 keepers, didn't we, in 4 games, Tomo? I think that was fair to say. So, listen, without a settled goalie, like we can think of the days we had the Jordan Hadlows and the Ben Jups and that's the reason a team can be successful and challenge for things. We struggled a bit, and but we've settled down a bit now. And we've got, we're gonna get the keeper situation sorted. We're blessed with options now, aren't we? Tom will probably go on to it, but I personally think it started from the keeper and then with the fullbacks, as Tomo says, it's a lot more settled back five.
Yeah, and absolutely, that's exactly right. The 2 fullbacks have been brilliant since they've come in, but it is. I think Saturday was the first, bar the keeper. I think Saturday was the first time since I've been doing it, I've probably been able to field the same starting outfield players for a long time, which is massive, and the same formation as well. Because in our time, obviously, been coming back doing it, and Paul last year, the amount of times we turn up to a game or training, we've had to change the formation last minute because lads were late or lads weren't on time or they didn't turn up or they pulled out last minute. So it was so chopping and changing. Even at the start of this season as well, we've moved. A few lads have naturally moved on themselves. We've moved a couple of lads on as well that just haven't been right for us. And it is a lot more. It seems to be a lot more settled as well, not just personnel wise, but from us as coaches and also formation, and obviously having a more of a smaller squad to kind of deal with on a match day is paramount, and that's the reason why we feel that we've improved, especially this month anyway.
So Tomo, obviously we've had the draw and the win in the league, moving up the table. Great to get through into the next round of the cup as well. How do you think that a good cup run will sort of affect our league form?
As Josh is smiling there, so as I was going to say, we love a cut run at Central. We always have done. No, it is. It keeps lads vibrant and fresh. That's the top and bottom of it. And obviously more games that you can play in a season. But I think when lads is one-off games, is you might not be kind of settled in a season, but in a one-off game, we will always back ourselves as whatever team we put out to win that one-off game. And yeah, if you get a cup run, and obviously the lads that got to the final last year, and I was thinking about this the other day, I think there's only Ruben, Lowell and Dan Dollin from that squad that we had in the final last year. Everyone else has changed, and it's and I think that we saw on Saturday, even though we weren't great in parts, but the desire for wanting to get through and then win was massive. And I think the lads have taken on board how much of a nice thing having a cup run is. And obviously with Dan around and Ruben from last year, they enjoyed the whole day and the whole evening. And it is a really good thing, because it does keep your lads fresh, keeps the impetus there. Because otherwise, if you're just playing for a league and you're losing every week, then it just becomes a pointless exercise and lads just end up drifting off and it just becomes more of a chore. So yeah, it's nice to get the win. Obviously, some really good teams in the cup still, so hopefully we can get another home draw. We always favour ourselves, I think, against anyone at home, and hope long may that continue into the season.
Happy days, right? So, just before we move on, if you are watching on Spotify, listening on Spotify, just head below the podcast now, and you'll be able to see our poll for the month. Last month's question, nobody got it right. It was how many points are Central going to pick up this month? 0 people guessed between 4 and 7. So try and do better this month, guys.
I don't think I would
did
pick
Tomo
between 4
say
and 7
1?
either, to be honest with you, at the start of the month. Yeah, 0, I think. That's probably what I would have gone for at the start of the month.
I thought the new poll was going to be what colour will Kyle's hair be next time he does a podcast.
Hey, nice.
That could
What
be a
shade
question,
of blonde will it be next
Definitely
time?
not grey like yours.
Oh, that's harsh.
Paul is
I've
going
been waiting
grey,
for
man.
years
He
to
is
go fully
flying
grey. He's just not quite kicking in.
Yeah, it's all the hair dye.
Can't afford that, mate.
You see it. Yeah. Right, wicked. So, Kyle is chewing on his pen, so clearly he's got a pen and paper. Paul and Tomo, I've seen yours already. We are now going to move on to a new section of the podcast, which is called Top 5. And what I want to know from you guys is, what are Manchester Central's top 5 results? So the actual score lines is what I'm looking for. Some of them are repeated. So if they're repeated, we're only putting them in once. And if you can tell me the team that those results were against, you will get a bonus point. Have we all got 5? Right, happy days. So, Paul, what is your number 1?
Can I just tell you teams I think we beat heavily, first of all?
Yeah.
Right, I think we definitely, one of these score lines are against Hollingwood, 100% Hollingwood. We will all agree with that. And one of them is Westbury as well, I think. I seem to remember Hollingwood away may have been something like 10-1. Something like that, or 9 or 10-1. So I tell you what, I'll give you scores. 10-1, 9-1.
Okay, so you think that 10-1 is the top?
I think 10-1. I'm sure we beat someone like Hollingwood 10-1. So I'm going to go 10-1. I'm going to say there was something like a 9-1. I'm going to say there was 2 7-1s. And I'm going to say there was an 8-2. 8-2 rings a bell somewhere. And I think some of the teams we beat heavily were Hollingwood and Westbury. So that's me.
I'll go next if you want. So we smashed Cavaliers 16-0 in Division 2. And Gab scored 6. We did have an 8, I believe it was an 8-2 against Lee at 10 Acres Lane when Lamin scored 4. It was either an 8-0 or an 8-2. I remember that vividly. It was a minging day, and Lamin scored 4. And then I'm pretty certain we beat AFC Burnley at home 8-0 as well, which was another pretty high score. And I seem to think we either in the Prem days, didn't we beat East Manchester home and away like 6-2 and 7-1 or 7-0. When Ricardo played in net away from home at Right Robbie for East Manchester. I'm sure Corey scored a hat-trick that day, and then I'm sure when we played him at home, we beat him 7 something as well, and they were just an absolute disgrace.
Can I just own up as well?
So they're mine.
Can I just own up that in my head as I was doing this, I only thought about mine and Kyle's tenure. I didn't think of any League 2, Division 2 games. I did not remember, I swear.
All right. Wow. That's why I'm in.
That's why I'm in. I didn't even think we played all them games and them ones that Tomo did, so... Yeah. But there you go.
They're mine. They're my 5. 16-0, 8-2, 8-0, 7-1, 6-0.
16-0. Did we beat someone 16-0? Cavaliers. Yeah. Was that right, Robert?
Yeah. Gabs. Yeah, is that night game?
Was that
you were there.
16-0?
Gabs came on. Gabs scored like 6. Gabs honestly scored 6 goals.
I remember the night, but I didn't think it was 16. Wow. There you go.
Yeah, 16, mate. Yeah.
Right.
That is by far our highest league
Go on then,
score.
Happy Harry. Tell us the answers, Kyle.
Well, I was the same. Tomo, to be honest, I didn't think about your reign, to be honest.
No one does. It's all right. Been erased from memory, and it has from me as well.
So I've gone 10-1 against Hollingwood. That was at that Chapel Road 3G, wasn't it? That is now like shut down, I think. I've gone. There was a 7-0 versus Westbury. Because that was at the regional. I've done a 7-0 against Walshaw. I remember Dan Burns taking the ball down and just dinking the keeper.
That's the one I'm thinking of. I said it was East Manchester, but it was Walshaw, in the return game. That's the one I was thinking of. 7,
Yeah, it was like from 30 yards, and it was honestly one of the best goals I've ever seen.
They played in red, didn't they, that day?
Yeah. And then there was one at 10 Acres Lane against Chapel, where like we got beat like 4-0 the week before.
Yeah.
And me and Paul had we'd nearly left before before the whistle.
No, we actually had. Before that whistle had ended, we were off the pitch on the far side by the clubhouse.
And then the next week, we had to play them again. And I think we won. And I'm going to throw this one in there. I think there was like a 9-3 against Uppermill at the regional arena because someone scored with the last kick of the game for them and went and did that celebration in the stands. Do you know where they clapped themselves?
They sat in the seat. Like I think they sat in the front seat, didn't they?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
brilliant.
as they were running to the seat, the referee blew the full time whistle, so no one was interested.
So the last one. What was the before the 9-3? What was the score you were going for? Again,
That was your
I
Walsh.
thought 6-1 against
Oh, yeah.
Chapel.
6-1 against Chapel. Yeah.
Yeah,
There
Okay.
you go.
Because Kane scored 4 that day, didn't he?
yeah, and David got photo of the year,
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
he? Under
Yeah,
that
that's right. 'Cause
floodlight.
the background, yeah, and the light, yeah.
Don't worry, Josh. I'll plug your media on this new podcast.
Yeah. UCFB.
Right. So I have the answers here. The number one result for Manchester Central, the biggest ever win, was 16-0 against the Cavaliers. So our joint second highest ever victories, there's 3 of them, were all 8-0 against Brightmet,
Oh, yeah, at home, yeah,
home,
Division 2.
AFC Burnley, and Lee Athletic. In third, we've gone with. So joint next, we've got 2 results, both 7-0. Again,
I was going to ask, and Tilsley was one of them, wasn't it?
no, it was Walsall Sports.
That's the one you both
That's
said.
the one
and
saying.
Westbury.
Westbury, we said them.
So they were both 7-0. Then we've gone with 9-2 away at Hollingwood.
There you go.
Hollywood. Just because we kept a clean sheet, so we put the 7-0s above
I
the
said that was
9-2 because we
9-1
kept
me.
a clean sheet. We then beat Hindley and Old Stretfordians 7-1. Both
Good
away
old
from
Hindley.
home. Uppermill was 9-3.
That's the one, yeah.
What a shout that is, by the way.
Chapel 6-1. And East Manchester 7-2.
Let me just say about that Chapel 6-1. Let's have a little moment for that, because after the famous pack the kit up, Kyle, we're going moment, we absolutely, for the first time with that group, absolutely went mad in the change room. Do you remember, Kyle? And Tom, I think you were probably there, weren't you?
I do.
Like, hammered all of them.
I was there,
And just said, like, the few home truths. And then that was it. I don't think we lost again for a long time, or we couldn't have lost many after that.
That got us promoted, didn't it? After that
So-
game, we went up that
interesting.
season.
Yeah, that away game was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, scores are on the doors. We have in third place with 4 points, Paul Maguire. Well done, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Third is
thanks for
last,
coming, Paul.
basically, in this competition.
In second place with 6 points,
Oh.
we have Chris Tompkinson.
I was only 2 behind. Oh, of course Kyle won this.
And in first place with 9 points, we have Kyle
Fair
Lord.
play.
Wow.
That's what I do. That's what I
Wow.
do, boys.
Did he
That's
get
what I
9
do.
out of 10 points?
Yeah.
Wow. How? How did he do that?
No.
What?
What?
How's that? Sorry, Trump, is he even bending the votes here?
It's easy when you've got full times archives up, innit?
Oh,
How'd you
great.
get 9 out of 10 points in that quiz?
That's his part-time job,
Well,
his records
brilliant.
keeper for the Manchester
Fair
FA.
play.
So, I got Walsall, Westbury, Uppermill, Hindley. No, Walsall, Westbury, Hollingwood, Uppermill, and
Wow.
Chapel.
Yeah.
They were my
Fair
top
play.
5.
The only one that you got, the only result that you got wrong was the Hollingwood one. All the other was the right result and the right team.
Wow.
Congratulations, Carl. Going to move on to the
Congratulations,
next
Kyle. You win
little bit
absolutely
now.
nothing. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
You get a free ticket to our next home game.
Can't wait.
So the next section, I want to just take a little look back at the past. You know, we've had some fantastic players playing for Central over the years. But my question to you guys, we'll start with you, Paul. If you could bring one player from Central history into this squad that we've got at the moment, who would it be and
Ooh,
why?
Big question, isn't it? Because it also depends. Listen, my gut reaction is Corey Bentley Knight, I think, personally. But when you say that, you're thinking Fuad and you're thinking some of the other people that backed us goals. I would also have an honourable mention for Jordan Hadlow as well, because I think if you stick a Jordan Hadlow in goal right now, it's a whole different ball game. But for me, Corey Bentley Knight.
Tomo?
There's been some good players as over the years. We were talking about this before. Like, it's so hard to pick an all-time central 11 or 16. We've done this, tried out me on our own group chats and stuff. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. But if I had to pick, for goals, we are struggling for goals. But you'd probably say Corey without a shadow of a doubt. But also, I'd probably say someone like a Paul Riley. Just to kind of be at the back there, just to shore up. I think him and Dan Donnan would make a very good centre half partnership, to be honest with you. So I'd probably go Corey for goals, but would if he wasn't available, then I'd probably go for Paul Riley without a shadow of a doubt in centre half.
Nice. And Kyle?
Do you know what? I'd probably actually go for like a Josh Frith. Josh Frith could score goals from anywhere, and like you'd put him on set pieces, and we'd always look dangerous. And you just knew in those tough times that Josh could just create a chance out of nothing. So Josh Frith would probably go in there for me. And I'd actually go the opposite to Tomo. So when Paul and CJ played, CJ was amazing. I'd keep CJ in there for his experience.
But as we've always said, when you say that, then you've got to be saying Tom Greenfield. You've got to be saying like loads. But and I think we have always said, haven't we? If you put down now the best central 11, that could easily compete in North West County Division 1. I'm not saying it'd be flying, but it could compete. I think certainly with Jordan in net, and Dan Burns and Corey up front and all that. So it's one hell of a team, innit? And that's probably what Central's been all about. That's the kind of blessing and the curse, isn't it? Of the fact that we have brought some decent players through who have gone on and stepped up, 1 or 2 leagues, haven't they? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could almost pick 2 11s to play against each other and it'd be a bloody good game. Like,
yeah, it would.
On that note of looking back and saying, you've got your Corys, you've got your Jordans, you've got your Josh Friths, you've got your Paul Rileys. I just want to have a chat about what you guys' favourite memories are from previous Central games. We've had some massive results during our time as a club. So Tomo, I'll start with you.
I obviously wasn't here right at the very start when they was at the regional arena. I think I only came to watch one game, and obviously wasn't around it. So that kind of era for me wasn't obviously. I can't really think too much to that. But we've had some really good games over the years, haven't we? Obviously, everyone's going to point to Hayside because of what happened and how good a game it was and the comeback and stuff. But you'd probably say. The thing that set us off in the Premier Division was the Walsall away game, for being 2-0 down. Paul's memorable half-time team talk to the lads, and it was with us losing the first couple of games as well, and we got beat comfortably in those first couple of games. I'd probably say the most standout, just because of what happened afterwards, was that Walsall game, 2-2 away from home, without a shadow of a doubt.
Interesting. Kyle?
Do you know what? There's loads in there. But for me, I'd go with the Tim Whistle Cup final. It wasn't the best game ever, but I think that just was a bit of a nice reward at the end of what was actually a long and grueling season, because we ended up getting promoted as well. So we won the Murray Trophy on penalties, and I think just the celebrations that night, it summed up why we do what we do.
Yeah. I think I'd add from that, because I think I'm pretty sure it's the same era of like the Wimslow Albion away. If you remember when we won a pretty sticky game and there's a big picture at the end with dads, mums, friends in the picture. I'll always remember that Wimslow Albion away me. I really, really will. Not a glamorous fixture at all, but I think we did secure promotion on that day. And it just all seemed to fit together. And I think that then links on to the final. But I think you've just got to say, haven't you? You've got to remember the Haysides away and the water bottles getting launched in the air. Josh Frith's missus climbing over the fence even though she's pregnant and falling. Rory, you running on the pitch. Yeah.
Essentially,
have done it. Josh running on the pitch.
Josh is
that,
waddle.
honestly, the fact that we filmed that will always, when we're all old and grey and in our 70s, 80s, you will be able to watch that clip of Hayside Away when that goal goes in and just smile. You definitely will. So Hayside Away. But I do think there was some, if I vaguely remember some of them, like I remember the Chadderton Cup game at 10 Acres. I think we won on penalties in the end. I think Liam Ellis scores an equaliser in added time or something. So you've got like that game, and there's probably others. There's others that didn't stick in memory because we were poor. I remember me kicking off with Josh after an interview one game somewhere where we got beat, and I'm like, there was no man in the match. Shut up. What are you talking about? So there's loads of little moments in there. Yeah. So, but for me, it's Hayside away, it's Wimslow Albion away, it's the Chadderton Cup, and like Kyle said, you forget about the cup finals, don't you? Whenever we think about all these things that have happened, not once have I thought about being at Hyde's ground in a final. When they all just, I forget about them. They were good nights. So that's it for me. Yeah, they were all good. It's all been fun, hasn't it?
Rory, can I just add one on there, please? Like that, I remember the lead up to this game because me and Josh had ordered a top for Paul. It was his 100th game, and we got battered from Hayside. They peppered the goal, and we literally didn't get a chance. And then the 94th minute, I think it was, Dan Burns broke through and scored. And them scenes when we went through to the semi-final of that Gilchrist Cup was unbelievable. And that being Paul's 100th game, kind of that was just the central way. And I think there wasn't a 100th game that he could have wished.
I do remember that. Did he ding the keeper late on? Is that one? The ball over the top? Yeah.
By Mauro played him in.
So there's some goals though.
Could also add to that as well.
Some goals.
Yeah, you also add to that a more recent one was when we beat Avro on the last day of the season to get promoted from Division 2. Like how good they were and they're a good side, and like you say, the emotions of that and winning. I think Fuad scored in the 94th minute, and they were all claiming it was offside, and the celebrations and the scenes after that. We've had so many, haven't we? Like, and that's the most recent one, and that was a really good moment.
Tomo, I remember one. What was the game when we subbed Gabs on really late and he scored really late away at that little? Was it Daisy Hill or something? I remember that game standing out.
Daisy Hill away, yeah. 1-0, yeah. That was a good. Yeah, they played a lot of their first. I remember for their first team players, I think all their reserves had all left. So I think they drafted all.
We had to win, didn't we? We needed 3 points, didn't we? And Gabs comes on, doesn't he, and scores a really pig ugly goal with like 5 minutes left or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and that led to the Avro game the next week. Yeah.
Mad.
Yeah, I think it goes to show like we've just had so many different games there to chat about, and that really that's why we do what we do here. You know, we don't get paid for it. It's stressful. It makes you want to tear your hair out sometimes. But for those moments that are just there, some of them, like you said, like we said, Hayside away, Wilmslow Albion getting promoted, they're ingrained in your memory forever now because of just how important it is. And even though it's not a case of like it's the Champions League final or the FA Cup final or whatever, it just shows how much it actually means to everyone involved at this level.
You've got to remember as well, you got to think about some of them. We wouldn't really remember, but there's random away games, isn't there, where we went places and got hammered or whatever, and got a lot of stick because we filmed the games and we were always there to be shot at. Remember the Penningtons, the 5-4 Penningtons and all them games. It'd be good to try and remember them all. You've also got to remember there's some really good shouts from opposition along the way, like, I'll put you in my boot. Kyle, that was a good one, wasn't it? So we've got to put you in my boot. We've got loads of them. We've got
Remember that one? I think that was the only game I came to at the Regional Arena that year. It was against Atherton, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And there's loads of them kind of ones
vividly.
Wow, brilliant.
Like I said, that's why we film everything though as well, isn't it? Like for them kind of memories, not just for us, but obviously the lads that played in them as well. Even though, like I say, most of them lads have moved on to higher levels, they can still look back in that with a bit of fondness when they're older, when they get promoted and stuff. I'm sure most lads will. And like I said, that's why we do it, isn't it? And you can say we do get lots of stick, and it's just water of a duck's back to us, really, innit? We've done it for that long, and we know why we do it. And like you say, having them memories is the main reason why. And whatever comes with it, the stick we get, we just laugh it off. We just find it funny.
We've also got "Wef are we" from Kyle. Go on, Kyle, give us again.
Oh, that was one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. Referee.
Oh, Kyle. Oh, wait, hang
Kyle
on.
getting
Let's have a
angry
little
with it.
honourable mention for Wivenshaw Town away. The win
Oh,
on penalties.
that got me a
And Kyle getting
suspension for
sent
the whole
off.
season at half
At
time.
half time. That was brilliant. Yeah, how
Oh,
good
yeah.
were we that day, by the way? We were decent that day.
So there's a few more honourable mentions that we've had here sent in from some of our avid listeners. We've got Paul coming on at Beachfield and getting a yellow card after 3 minutes.
Still got the picture to
there's
prove
a
that
good
as well.
picture of that in there.
I know.
By the way, the guy couldn't wait to book me. I didn't do anything. Literally, come on, you know I deserved a lot of yellow cards along the way or whatever. But I literally didn't do anything. Kyle, you were there, weren't you? I didn't, did I?
Yeah, because you wanted to send me on, but I wasn't registered as
Yeah.
a player, so you had to go on, and then you got booked after
For
3
what?
minutes.
I still don't. I wouldn't know to this day. God, we were bad that day. We needed a
Do you know
we
what?
needed a point to go up or something, didn't we? And lost.
Yeah, that's probably because we put you on. To
No,
be
we were
honest, mate.
struggling.
Oh dear. And then one of the off the pitch moments. Obviously, we've had a lot of good banter behind the scenes. The infamous power cut at Manchester College.
Go on, Kyle, you tell the story.
Well, I don't know. It's one of them where we had that in-house game, didn't we? And poor old Jamie was refereeing because I wasn't going to referee, and he gave a penalty or something, didn't he? And it was a Stonewall penalty, and then good old Bill said he was cheating, and then slammed the door to the Astro and went and turned off the lights and told us all to leave.
Locked himself in the
It was
changing room,
pitch
didn't
black,
he?
wasn't it? And we couldn't find the equipment or the balls or anything. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
To be fair, Rory, he locked himself in the changing room after he started effing and jeffing at me, and then Paul. To be fair, this is one of the only times Paul stuck up for me. He stuck up for me and was like, "What are you saying?"
In that office. Did he go in the
Yeah.
office?
Good old Bill, though, eh?
No, he locked himself in the changing room.
Was it changed? I thought it was the office. He's never forgiven you since, has he, Kyle? Well, when there was a sausage roll incident as well.
Yes, there was. Yes.
I'm not putting that on the chat. I'm not putting that on record. That's an issue that was
Wasn't that our last
happened.
wasn't that our last ever time at the Nichols that evening? I think we were kicked out after that, weren't we?
It probably was. And I'll tell you what's a funny story about Nichols is at the end of the session when we were all getting these balls in, and Paul know what's coming now because I didn't look for a ball properly, and I remember him going straight out and finding this ball, and then getting the ball and saying, "You come here." Smack this ball down on the floor. It hit the ceiling of Nichols and hit me in the head. And the worst thing was Paul was giving me a lift home that night, and I tried to get in Josh's car.
To get a different lift.
And Paul generally went, "What you doing? Get in the car." I was like, "Oh no."
It was brilliant. No, what I did was, as I got the ball, I booted it in, I volleyed it against the wall, so it bounced off the wall and whacked you in the head. And then he tried to saunter off to get in the car. Josh went, "Oi, get in the car. You're not getting away that lightly." So there you go. That was all great moments, though, weren't they? Everything's forgotten about, though, wasn't it? 10 minutes later, so it's all fun and games.
It's all fun and games, yeah.
Yeah, the infamous power cut night, brilliant. What a night.
Was a good laugh.
So we're going to move on now to some questions from our Instagram followers that they have had in the last month. We've put a few stories up and asked for people to submit some questions, so we've got a few of them here. So first of all, how do I get to play for Central? Tomo, I'll go to you for this one.
How would you play for Central? Obviously, get in touch with a lot. We have a lot of players, obviously, through socials that do get in touch, and we just ask for anyone that's what is interested in coming down, whether that's new players, old players. Just get in touch with us via socials or the website. just state your position, your age, who you've played for, ideally, and then we'll invite you down to a training session and have a look. Obviously, quite a lot of the cases, sometimes the lads aren't right for us, so we'll always be honest and truthful. And obviously, at quite a few cases as well, we do have lads that are right for us. Like we've had 2 or 3 already this season. Max, Diogo, to name a couple that have come through social media posts and have made a massive difference to us. So yeah, through social media, the website, and obviously that leads to we all have access to it, so we can answer to that, and then obviously we'll invite you to training and take a look at you from there.
Happy days. Paul, this one I think is mainly for you. Obviously, it's been quite a few years now since Central originally reformed. What made you reform Central? Why Central? And yeah, what was the thought process behind
I
it?
think the very short version of the story is we had the FETA, Football Education Training Academy at the time. Lads were going into their second year. We had a lot of good players. All the lads we just said: Josh Frith, Corey Knight, Jordan Hadlow, Paul Riley, Dan Parker. The list probably goes on. I've missed a few, I'm sure, Kyle. But and we needed adult football for them. Now, I knew they weren't ready to walk into someone's adult team. They weren't ready. And I felt like there was a little gap that we needed to bridge as an academy. So we formed, I just thought, let's just form an adult team and play. And then from doing that, I started thinking about what would we call ourselves. And then it was like, we've got to be Manchester something. And then when you looked on Google and it all kept popping up, then Manchester Central, was formed in 1928 and this, that and the other. And it was like, I contacted the FA and just said, look, can we just take the name of Manchester Central and the club and the badge and all that? We've got, some historical evidence of what the badge was and all that. And they said, yeah, knock yourselves out. So that was it really, Roy. The truth of it was, I felt we needed to bridge a gap for young lads to get into adult football, and still to this day, 100% that is still happening. We are still bridging a gap, giving people an introduction to adult football, and therefore either going on and having a good, amateur or non-league career, or just enjoying the football with us. So nothing's changed really. We would like to have evolved a bit more. We'd love to be a counties team and contract players and have a stand in the ground, but we all know how challenging that has been and will continue to be. So yeah, I think for what Central was set up for, it is still doing the job today. Yeah.
Happy days. This is a question for all three of you, but seeing as Kyle's decided that the ceiling is more interesting than himself, we'll go.
That's his
start with you,
complexion,
Tomo.
that, not his ceiling.
Yeah. Tomo, what for you is the best part about being involved with Manchester Central? What is it about Central that makes this club so special?
The connection that we have as staff. We've always have. Obviously, I've worked and known Paul for a long time, nearly 20 years, pretty much. And obviously, all the people have come on board in that time, like yourselves, Kyle, Josh, that you get to meet, and everyone from a staff-wise is kind of is very similar in their ways and how they are and characters and stuff. So that side of it is a social side of it, and obviously having mates is a massive part of it. And obviously the playing side as well, when you actually see lads progress on like we've had in the past, and some of these younger lads that we've got coming through now, like your Rebus and your Jurgens and one or two others, seeing them develop and progress on to go and play higher if it's not with us, and enjoying the football, and when you pick up results and get into finals and stuff, that's what makes it really special. As obviously we all have families. Obviously myself and Paul have young girls and stuff, so we could be spending our time with them, which I probably don't do enough. I'm sure Paul's the same, which we'd love to, but we do it because of that reason, because of the staff we have, and then obviously the lads as well, when they buy into us and how we are and the similar characters, and you see things coming off on the pitch and lads progressing. That's why we do it, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, Kyle, anything to add? Obviously, you're not as involved as you used to be, but whilst you were here, what made you stick around for as long as you did?
Petrified of Paul. That's
because I told him
one.
to.
But
Yeah.
Paul said you're doing this, and I was like, okay. No, but I think, like Thomas said, it's just the connection you make with people. Like, because for me, being quite a young age when I was there, the players were a similar age to me, So I had that connection with the players at the same time, and I think because I was working with Paul during the week, it was like I had that connection with Paul where I could work with him. I trusted him. He probably still doesn't trust me to the day.
I trust you for
But
some things.
yeah, it was, but it was one of them where you build that connection, and like with the people that used to come and watch as well, I'd say were one of the main things that kept you going, because they'd come and watch. Like I remember Corey's mum was one for sure, and Dan Parker's dad. Literally, you'd be getting beat at Chapel in the Frith away from home, pouring down rain. It's freezing, and they'd be there watching, and you'd be like, they're giving up the time to come and do this. So you felt like you were giving something back as well.
Nice. Anything to add, Paul?
No, I think they've hit the nail on the head very well. It is the connection we've all had. Listen, no way would we have done Central for this long without us lot as a connected group of people enjoying it. Because there's no thanks, is there? There's no thanks from a player. There's no thanks from anybody. There isn't. It's just the connection we have, and we all enjoy each other's company. We've had a real laugh. We've had the ups and downs, but it's been amazing, hasn't it? Tomo's right. We could all, every one of us, not just me and Tomo, because we've got kids, could do other things. You all could, Josh, you, Rory, everyone, Kyle, when he was doing it, all could be other places. But we loved it because we had a laugh, we had a smile on our face, and we were all mates, and we kind of enjoyed it that way, because we could go and do, go and manage a North West Counties team and be travelling away on a Tuesday night and training Tuesday, Thursday. I did that as Redcliffe Borough manager, and I know how challenging it was. I can tell you right now, even in the Manchester League, Manchester Central is more fun, more entertaining. So, yeah, and Tomo hit the nail on the head as well. It's when you get them wins and them cup runs and them last minute goals and the penalty saves and all that. It's just a buzz in it. You feel it. So I think Central has a special connection for us lot. And, how long it lasts, we don't know. But it's been a great ride on it. So we'll see how far it can take us. But it's been, and I will say it as well, it's thanks to all you lot and all the other previous people as well. The Jamie Neverets and all the other people and the players and the parents, like Kyle says, is it nail on the head? Corey's dad and Kane's dad and all the girlfriends and all the mums and all that have come to us. That's what put a big smile on your face. That's why Winslow Albion games stood in my mind the most, because I've still got that picture. And every now and again when it pops up, my daughters are in it. I think Tomo's are. I think people's girlfriends and aunties or just friends are on there. That's what makes it. And it's the connection between the people and the good time we've had. Yeah, that's the main thing for me.
Happy days. Paul, we mentioned on the last episode about the finances and how much it costs to run a club at this level, and how important it is that the lads sort of chip in when they can in terms of like paying subs and stuff. So someone has asked, how much are the subs to play for Central?
Tomo will know a lot better than me, but I think it might be fair to say that we set it pretty low, and it's about £25 a month, which is works out about £7 a week. Which, let's be honest, it's a McDonald's in it, or it's a pint nowadays almost. So it's not a lot of money. And as we all said, it does cost to run these clubs. We've known this for a long time. It's over £7,000 a year, depending on your venues, depending on where you play and stuff. So it's not cheap. So we do get £25 a month off, lads. That's the truthful answer. Now, do we always take in? No. Are we sound? Is Tomo dead fair with people and lets them give a £5 here, a £10 there? Yeah, we have been one of the fairest clubs, I think, over the years. That has been backed by Martin McEverett, and I think throughout all this we should give a very honourable mention to Martin McEverett and in the company that he runs IMAP, and he's funded us, he's backed us, he's given us anything we've needed in terms of kits and money and things like that. So without Martin, none of this at times would have happened. That's the truth. But yeah, in terms of the funding of the club, it has been on us now with no handouts here, and the lads have been paying Tom. I think Tom will probably add a bit more to me, but they're finally growing up, I think, and learning. So, what do you think, Tomo?
Yeah, you're right. It's been probably the hardest thing I've had to deal with since doing it. Is trying to get lads to pay. Like I said, having Martin, who helped and contributed with some lads that were struggling to pay, because they didn't have work or they were students and stuff. Martin was massive for the first couple of years. If he hadn't have done that, we we wouldn't have been able to play and play the games and have a venue and stuff. So massively thankful to him. But this season it seems different. Obviously we've moved on for a lot of those lads who got us promoted and who've been great, that were the studenty types that couldn't pay. We've now seemed to have a bit more of a mature bunch of lads that understand that they've played at these kind of levels before, whether they've been at uni and stuff. They understand this is how it is, this is what it is, and like you say, it's cheap as shit. I'm sure most places, I know some have sponsors and stuff, so some lads might not even pay at other clubs, but I'm sure we're probably one of the cheaper ones around. And as Paul said, and I always say to the lads, is that I'm always fair. If lads are struggling 1 month and can only pay £10, then we're happy to work and accommodate with those lads as long as they don't take the mick in the long run. And just lads think, especially we've had in the past, lads just think they can play for free, and that's kind of then a bit disrespectful to myself, who then ends up having to pay the bills, and Paul as well when we chip in. So we've kind of seemed to have a little bit more of an understanding this season with the lads we've got. And like you say, it is. I know cost of living's not great, but £7 to play football at a very good venue where we play, the training facility and kit and stuff, and the coaching that we do put on, you don't think you're going to get that at many places at this level without a shadow of a doubt.
Happy days. And then the last question from Instagram is, why should I join Central over any other team in the Manchester Football League? Tomo, I'll go to you first.
Because of what we said before, the connections that we have and the vibe that we try and bring to it, we feel that the level of coaching and experience that I know there's a lot of places and a lot of clubs seem to now at this level have lads that have played at a higher level, but I don't think they've had the experience that myself and Paul had. Paul more so than me, playing wise at a good level, and then coaching his way down, and the experiences we've had at this level. I don't think you're going to get that from a lot of clubs, and we'll always try and be fair, we'll always try and be honest and try and help lads progress on, and we always try and make it as much of a fun environment for lads to be involved in. I think if you probably ask most of the lads that we've got at the moment, they probably see it that way
Tomo,
as well.
when they buy into it,
so
isn't it? I think you're 100% right. But I tell you what as well, Rory, when people say, why, it's not for the faint-hearted, Central. It's not. It just isn't. Love us or hate us, we do it. We take it seriously, and often, to be honest, not this season. That was one of our mistakes. But often it is life or death for us. It always has been. Kyle will tell you that. Josh will. We've treated it as life or death to take points. And if the players aren't of that mindset or of that ilk, it can be a pretty difficult place to be. I think if you just want to come, piss around, play a bit of ball, we aren't that place. We will come. We'll butt heads, and it will be World War II. So what we need is lads that can understand Central, understand what we're trying to do, and that's how then we have a harmonious time. That team in the Prem that finished one pot of the title, that was it. Everybody understood it. Everybody understood what it was we're trying to do. And me and Tomo have had to fight over this maybe last 12 months to make these lads understand. And we have struggled. I've struggled. It's like when you talk about, like, let's say like a really good manager, brilliant player goes into management and he just can't affect some of the players. I have felt like that this year personally. I don't think I've been able to affect some of the players this year, truthfully, how I did in previous years. So it has been a challenge, but I think Tomo's hit the nail on the head. We've started to get that type of player finally who does get it and understands life or death. So I think it's not for the faint-hearted playing for Central. I would always put that caveat on everything.
And on the back of that as well, you look at the lads we've had on over the years, and even the first couple of years, how long they do stay with us as well. You think the lads that, once they understand what we're about as a club and coaches, some will not get what it is, and they'll just make their way and go quite quickly, and obviously we'll do the same, we'll move people on. But you think about the rest of these lads, all those lads we had from Division 1 to the Premier Division, and then the lads that we had in my first season into Division 2 and then into Division 1 last season, they stayed with us for a good couple of years because they enjoyed it. I know we've always been winning, but they knew exactly what they'd get from us. We're honest, we're truthful, and they enjoyed what we were all about.
Because we take it seriously. It's like we say, look, it's pouring down, it's cold, we're driving around all the northwest of England. You have got to come here and got to put it in. It can't be a laugh. It can't be just a piss about, a laugh and a joke. It can't be. It's got to be everything. And when you get them players, that's what the other teams have. The good teams that win leagues and get promoted, they have them players. And we're starting to get back to that thing.
Happy days. And then just to finish it off, guys, this is again for Paul and Tomo. Sorry, Carl, you need to get yourself more involved in the next month, and then maybe we'll invite you back on. Player of the month for September. Obviously, we've had a bit of a better month on the pitch this last few weeks. So, Paul, we'll start with you. Who are you going to be shouting for?
I'm sure Tom will agree. It's a really difficult one, because he's really been hot and cold. I can probably only go with just honourable mentions. I don't think there's been a main standout player. If I did say that, I'd say it was Dan, our captain. We played him in some different positions. He's had to, suck it up at times. He's had to, take on board some criticism, but he's had to take on board the team as well, which he has done. I thought he was brilliant on Saturday. So I would say Dan probably across the board has been our main number one player. But I do think, there's some of the people like Thomas say, it's the new people really that have come in that have helped us in September. I think you've got to go with Dan. Me personally. Don't know, Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, you wouldn't go far with Dan. Dan's been great, and I know we had him at the under-21s as well at Mac, and he's just a lad. He's positive. He's enthusiastic. He's a good player as well. And he has been a standout ever since he joined us from the minute go. And again, yeah, very good last month. And then I'd probably say honourable mentions to Max, Diogo, and Tom. They're probably them four. I'd say have been the standout this month. Max, Diogo, and Tom, since they've come in, have massively improved us.
I'd say Lamin as well. New left-sided guy, left back,
Lamin,
left wing back. He is an exciting player. He's a central player. He can learn the game, and he's a bit naive at times and a bit wasteful. But if we can just see the best out of him for another 2-3 months, I reckon in month 4 he'll be good and he'll go higher, I think, eventually. So yeah, I think he's one to watch really, Lamin.
Happy days. So congratulations to Dan Dollin for winning Player of the Month again. Two out of 2 so far.
Did he win it in August?
Try and get through. He did indeed. So see if he can go through the whole season just completely whitewashed.
I don't know if that's good for Dan or shocking for us that the same player's just going to win it every month.
I think there'll be some more candidates now over the next couple of months, I think.
Kyle might get a game soon. Sorry, can I just interject here before this podcast finishes? Can we have an also honourable mention? Come on, Kyle. For Kyle's substitute appearance, which is actually on video. Yeah, he was like, I'm in.
Do you know what it was?
Feed me, I think he said.
It was, so my first little bit of the tackle, they had a massive guy on the left wing, and Paul put me right back. And I was like, come on, man. This is my last ever game, come on. And he put me right back. And I went in for a tackle. And I went flying. I went to try and tackle him, and he's absolutely bodied me flying. And then I should have scored, actually. I remember I had a chance, and I turned and hit it, and the keeper's pulled off a decent save. And then, as Josh says, Josh Frith was running through on goal, 1-on-1, and I'm right next to him. And I'm screaming at him to pass me the ball, but I don't think he understood the script there and scored himself. So I wasn't fuming because it's a team game. So.
It was a good moment, though, wasn't it? Who did more when they got subbed on, you or me, Kyle?
Well, you got booked, so in fantasy points, you get a minus point.
No.
Oh dear. Right, well, I think on that note, we will wrap it up for episode 3. Big thanks again to Tomo, Paul, and Kyle for coming on. And yeah, good luck for the next month, guys. And we'll see you again
Cheers,
soon.
Rory. Well done, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.